Hello, parents. Welcome to the School of Humankind webinar that I'm doing today on helping our kids with anxiety. Thank you for joining today. I am going to show you a presentation on helping our kids with anxiety, and then I can take questions after the presentation. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Hello, parents. Welcome to the Masterful Parenting Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about anxiety and how you can help your children with anxiety. Now, I have worked with teenagers for over 16 years, and the number one thing that I have helped my teenagers with is anxiety. So I'm very familiar with children's anxiety, and I know what we can do to help them. Okay, first of all, let's talk about what is anxiety. So anxiety is a fear. It could be a real fear, like something that could happen or something that is happening, or it could be a thought, something that might happen, could cause the anxiety. And anxieties comes from our thoughts. So our thoughts are creating the anxiety, the fear. All right. Now, I want us to normalize anxiety because I think parents feel upset when they find out or when they learn that their child has anxiety. Many parents are uncomfortable with anxiety, probably because maybe your experience in your childhood was we don't feel fear, right? We hide our fear, we don't show it. But we know that kids have to show their fear because that is their way to process these feelings. And anxiety actually is biological. It comes from our biology. We needed to have anxiety. We needed to have fear when there was fear present, uh, when we were being hunted, when we were in danger. We would go into a fight, flight, freeze mode in order to deal with whatever the danger was. So it's real. It comes from our biology, and it is totally normal. So I just want us to normalize anxiety because actually all of us feel anxiety. I feel anxiety. I have felt times of anxiety. I have had panic attacks. It's totally normal. You cannot live your life without having some kind of fear, right? But when it becomes a problem is when the anxiety is overtaking your life. So with kids, it might be they won't go to a class or they stop attending school or they drop out of activities because they're afraid. Um, so when that happens, that could be a problem. So we have to help our children to work through their anxiety. Okay. So how do we do this? Okay. The first thing we have to do is we have to say to our children, it's normal. It's okay. Tell me what you're afraid of. This is the conversation we have, parents, with our kids. What's going on? How are you feeling? And they can tell you, I'm scared of a spider or riding a bike again because I had an accident or whatever it is. Yeah, my exams, my homework is overwhelming. There's too much homework. Whatever their fears are, we're going to listen to those fears. We're going to allow our children to express those fears. And this is what I actually do in my counseling office with my teenagers. Let them express it because they need to get it out. They need to speak the thoughts they're thinking. Okay. And then after they express it, we can say to them that it's okay. It's normal. It's normal to feel this. I understand how you feel. We show empathy for their feelings. And then we move towards, okay, so we're going to give our children with anxiety control. Why do we do that? Because when we give them control, then they start to feel less anxious. Actually, anxiety comes from a feeling of a lack of control. So if you have like really controlling parents, or if you were brought up with a lot of controlling in your life, then you might have anxiety. So we're going to give them the control because they feel right now they don't have any control because they don't want to go to that math class. They don't want to go to their room because there's a spider in there. They're afraid. Okay, so to relieve the anxiety, we're going to say you don't have to. You don't have to go to your room. You don't have to go to that math class right now. You don't have to. All right. And when I do that with my students, I notice like this relief, this wave of relief in their faces, you know? Somebody is taking it away. But then conversation is, I don't want you to be fearful uh, about this thing forever. Like I would like you to work through your fears, honey. How about we can take some baby steps and I can help you with your fears, right? You can even share a story, parents, of a time when you were afraid and how you overcame that fear. But we're not going to push our kids to get over it so quickly. We're going to allow them to tell us, okay, mom, I'm ready to see a spider. We can go outside. You can show me spiders outside. Okay, let's do that. Or, mom, I'm ready to ride my bike now. Um, I'm okay. I'm not as scared anymore. Or I want to try. I want to try. Okay. Or I want to try to go back to that math class now. I think I'm ready. All right. That's what we're moving our children to. We're moving to the wards facing their fears. But we're going to allow them to tell us the when it's going to happen. We're not going to push and we're not going to remind them and we're not going to um, uh, keep bringing it up. We're going to let them tell us when, when they're ready. Okay. So, and it might not be overnight. Every child is different. Some kids get over their fears really quickly. Other children take a lot longer time. Okay. But I am also going to say that we have to find out what's the root of the anxiety. So oftentimes I ask my students, okay, first of all, how do you know you're having anxiety? Where is it in your body? Like, do you feel it in your chest? Is your heart beating really fast? Are you getting sweaty? Do you want to faint? Like, what is happening? What is the physical sign that you're starting to feel anxious? Okay. It's really important that they know that because then they know, oh yeah, I'm getting anxious. Okay. Because that's when we can give them strategies for dealing with it when they start to get that sign that they're starting to feel anxious. Um, and then after we know what the sign is, then we can move towards what is the thought? Like when you are experiencing this, your heart is racing. What are you thinking? Oh, I'm thinking it's going to hurt me, the spider, or I'm thinking that I'm going to have an accident on my bike again, or I'm thinking I'm going to fail the math test. All right. So the thought, it is this thought, whatever they're thinking, that's what's causing the fear. So that's what we're going to say to our child. We're saying, okay, so this is what's causing you to be anxious, to be fearful, is you're thinking about it. All right. And then, but I understand, that you're thinking this way. Uh, do you think that it's true? Like, okay, let's just pretend that you did fail the math test. Would would that be super bad? Like, would that be something you can't get over? And that, listen, parents, I'm asking the question, I'm not directing, right? And this is really, really important because now we're getting the answers from our children. We're not giving them the answers. Then this is the seed that we're planting, that maybe that thought isn't that bad. Maybe that thought isn't true, right? Um, that's how we plant the seed. We ask the question. We say, so you're thinking that you're going to fail a math test. Okay. If that happened, would that be devastating? Like, what other thoughts are you thinking? And a lot of kids, when they have anxiety, they think, I'm going to fail the math test. That means I'm going to fail grade 5 or I'm going to fail grade 10. Um, they catastrophize, right? Catastrophize is they go to the worst case scenario. Okay. So let's just talk about the now, the riding the bike now. Okay. So what would happen if you fell again? Like, or if you had an accident again? Would that be really bad? How could we build up your confidence so you feel better, stronger? See, now we're moving into problem solving, and we're problem solving with our children by asking the question. Do you notice the reason I say to parents it's so empowering to ask them questions is because number one, you're going to get buy-in because it's their idea. And number two, it gives the anxious child control, right? When we're not telling them, we are going to allow them to decide and to make decisions. Okay. And this is how we can continue to work on their anxiety. Or say, okay, let's talk about your anxiety today. Are you still feeling sad or afraid of the math test today? How do you feel about it now? When after you got help from the teacher, how did you feel about it? Things like that. So I'm also going to say, parents, we have to look at home base. Home base is your home and how we are responding to the anxiety. I know it's hard to see our kids afraid. It's hard to see our kids shut down. It's hard to see our kids have a panic attack. It's hard, I know. But if we are anxious ourselves, if we are fearful for them, our children feel our emotions. So they're going to be more anxious. But if we're calm, I always say we have to be the oak tree when we're parents. The oak tree is sturdy and strong and does not move. The wind could be howling, the rain could be coming down, leaves could be falling off, but the oak tree stands steady in the storm and survives. And that's the calming strength that we need to have with our children, especially when they have anxiety, because sometimes their anxiety comes from us. Sometimes their anxiety comes from us being stressed out, uh, unhappy. Um, it could come from arguing with your spouse. I've had that happen where uh, mom and dad are shouting and yelling at each other, and the child is anxious. It makes them anxious. And so then they stay at home during the day because that's the only time they get peace. That's the only time they don't hear arguing and screaming. So parents, we have to monitor those things because those things are not healthy for our children. Our fears, our stress, our upset, our arguing, our yelling, that contributes to the anxiety and could be the cause. Not always, but it definitely is a factor in our children's feelings of anxiety because they don't feel safe, because things aren't stable, because mom's unhappy, right? They can feel our emotions. So I always say we have to parent from the inside out because our children are so in tune with us. They can feel when we are upset or angry or stressed out or anxious ourselves, if we're fearful. Many times, my students that are fearful, that have anxiety, their parents have anxiety, right? So it's no wonder because they're feeling that energy at home. So they bring it to school. Okay, so Um, if it's extreme anxiety, if it's something that you feel you need help with, then you got to get help. All right. And the school counselor um, is really a good resource for getting help for your kids. And you can call. I've had parents call me and say, my child is anxious. Do you think you can help her or help him? And I'm happy when parents call me. So do not ever think you're burdening the school by informing them that your child needs support. Okay. It's better that we know that. It's better that the school knows that so that they can take action and they can get support to your daughter or son. All right. So let's do a recap just to make sure that you got it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with let's do a check-in with ourselves and make sure that we're not feeling anxious, that we're feeling strong, confident, and that we can handle our children's anxiety. And we give the messaging to our kids that we can handle it. All right. And we're going to look at what's happening at home. Am I stressed? Am I arguing? Are we arguing too much in front of the kids? Can they hear us? Are we yelling? You know, those kinds of things we have to stop because it causes feelings of unsafety for our children. Okay. And then so once we've done the check-in with ourselves and we're keeping our home stable and peaceful, then we're going to talk to our children. We're going to say, tell me about it. Tell me about how you're feeling, right? We're going to have the conversation and we're going to listen without judgment, without fear, right? With the message that we can help them. We're going to give the message they don't have to. You don't have to. You do not have to. All right. Today, if it's making you feel uncomfortable, if you feel anxiety, anxious, you don't have to go to the math class. You don't have to go to your room if there's a spider there. You don't have to get on your bike right now. All right. You don't have to. You tell me when you are ready because I want you to move through your anxiety, but I'm going to be there. So don't worry about that. I want you to do it tomorrow or next week. You're the one that's the boss. You're the boss, and you're going to tell me, honey, when you want to try it. And then we are going to do regular, like a check-in. Check-in. How are you feeling today, honey? How was your school? How's homework? And then you can also offer like, what can I do to help you? Is there something I can do to help you? Do you want me to help you with the poster or the homework assignment, or do you need me to explain how to do the math? You know, we help them, or we can get them someone to help them if we can't help them ourselves, right? But we offer help, okay, because that is supporting. And then, do you think we should go to your school and talk to the school counselor, the teacher, and let them know? Do you want to do that? That might help you because then, especially if it's a school issue, then your teacher can help you with that. All right. And then we're going to move towards problem solving, like a kind of a plan. All right. So you're going to tell me when you're ready uh, to look at spiders, or you're going to tell me when you're ready to try your bike again after the biking accident. And you're going to tell me when you're ready to go back to math class. Okay, honey? And then you can follow up with the plan and do a check-in again with how they're feeling about things and their anxiety. All right. Parents, it works. I have worked with many, 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 many students with anxiety. I have a good track record helping kids with anxiety. And I know that doing these things is going to help your child. So it doesn't matter what the anxiety is, you can follow the same steps, right? Monitoring yourself, that you're calm, listening to your child, saying they don't have to, saying they're the boss, helping them make a plan, but letting them set the pace of the of executing the plan to get over the fear, right? And then praising them when they've done it. Wow, you went into your room. You're not scared of spiders anymore, right? Or awesome, you got on your bike. So proud of you. Okay, so we're going to praise the effort, the facing of the fear. Okay, so parents, that's what I got for you today on anxiety. I hope that was helpful. If you are struggling with anxiety yourself, if you have children with extreme anxiety and you need support, you need help, you can reach out to me. I am available to help you. You can book a 30-minute free consultation session with me, and I can give you some pointers based on your specific situation. So feel free to reach out, parents. I am here to help and give you support. Thank you so much for joining the show. I love you, parents, and I'm excited to do the next podcast and have you listen and get some valuable tips. All right. Take care, everybody. Okay, parents, thank you for joining today. We will take questions now if you have any questions on the presentation.